follow-up sequence with them? Is there a specific way that usually works better than others, or just kind of keep, like, if they keep pushing back that date of getting started, or it's kind of just like the urgency kind of is diminished? Is there a good follow-up procedure, or what a rep should do at that position? Is they just mark loss and we hit them in a reactivation, or do we keep still having that follow-up touch point with them until they potentially make a purchase, and considering they are qualified?
I mean, I guess the question is, like, if people are going to buy in the somewhat distant future, and like they're like, I would like to maintain contact, I think you should. If they don't, then don't. Like, it shouldn't be a subjective call. Like, it should be a conversation with the prospect of like, hey, would you like me to continue, like, kind of, following up with you and sort of doing this because you're interested, and there's like logistical barriers. I think what you don't want to confuse is sales reps not being able to close people and just calling all the time with follow-up. Follow-up is somebody with an interest and a want to do it with a logistical hurdle. So like, if they're like pretending like, oh, the guys fucking, they're in, boss, they're fucking gonna do it. You know what I mean? They're just like chasing these people.
So it's the difference between challenging something, like challenging an objection that they potentially had on that call, versus like them not going through that objection handling, or them not being able to close them, but using that kind of distant follow-up and, yeah, call me next week, I don't have the money, I have whatever, blah, 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 and kind of keep pushing through there. That's kind of like something they probably did wrong there. It's not like a logistical thing where, hey, call me in a week, I'm going to get the cash here, or like.
I don't agree with your underlying premise, because then you're assuming that even if you do everything right, they'll want to buy it.
The big one. That's a big one.
Because it's just not the case.
Yeah.
Maybe she's just not that into you, bro. you can do everything perfect and they don't buy. No, so like,
in that standpoint, if I don't mean to cut you off, but in that standpoint, if they, let's say you do everything, and you do everything, and then let's say they don't buy, is that still worth potential follow-up, or just to have them if they want it? Okay.
So, like, listen, I've been married for 16 years, but when I was chasing my wife, like, she wanted it, you know what I mean? That sounds a bit more vulgar than what it was probably meant to, but like, it was the pursuit of someone who wanted to be pursued. If your sales guys are like, if they're defaulting to a follow-up to avoid rejection, right? Like, that's what you need to figure out. Or are they handling objections well, and then like creating a long-term pipeline of people who are going to buy and are interested? Or are they just incessantly calling people who really have no interest? Like, are they, at 2 a.m. sending fucking you up type shit? It's like,
yeah. Okay.
It's just inane drivel at that point. It's not anything of any level of importance.
That makes sense. And then in B2B lead gen, if you're doing like a Facebook ad offer or whatnot, because I know there's the pain points of family and time, for instance, and going deep into that. Are those some things that are kind of more appropriate on a B2B, or less appropriate to kind of touch into those points, or it's kind of like on a prospect to prospect basis, based on how sophisticated they are, or what type of?
I think it depends on if you're realistically calling it B2B when you're dealing with fucking the CEO of their own Etsy store,
or like contractors in a service-based business.
Yeah, like, are they really B2B, or is it more like business to business to sort of? It's more of the middle ground, right? It's like, and I think that B2B is when there are multiple decision makers. That's how I like to describe it, because like, everyone's a business.
Get a DBA in your business.
So B2B. Had this fucking Etsy store the other day. They do, $4 a week. And it's like B2B. It just sounds good to say.
So there's really, like, gray area you can still go into it, and it's not like not appropriate or appropriate. It's just
again, it depends on the avatar. Like, in true B2B sales, the problem awareness phase is far more in depth. And there are more stakeholders. Like, there are multiple stakeholders that have to be introduced, and there are like multiple considerations. So and money is not the biggest one, right? So because if and there are budgets involved, and if you're dealing directly with an owner, it's far more B2C, right? So like you just smash, is sort of the answer to that one. But then when you do have more of a multi-stakeholder B2B type thing, you then send them into a different process.
I see. Okay, so for most cases, then that answers the question about where that kind of stands there.
Yeah,
cool.
Exactly. All right, Pablo.
Hi, Matt. Nice to meet you. I have a question regarding what could you do if you were to start all over again in your sales career? I mean, which industry could you pursue? Being in info products, insurance, and tech?
I don't think it makes a difference. Because when you're starting out, like, you suck, right? So it's like, but like you're supposed to suck. So there's nothing like wrong with that, as long as you like counter it with activity. Like if I'm not very good at shooting and I'm in a war, I'd like a machine gun. Like that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The better you get, accuracy matters more. And so, and to be really accurate, you can't use volume. It doesn't work. Can't have any springs. Fucks with things. So, I don't think it matters. I think like something like an insurance can work, but you have to be careful and pick the right thing because, lead generation becomes the biggest thing. I would say I would want to do something that was difficult. And okay, well, there's a caveat to this. Do I live at home and do I need to make money? That's one thing. If I live at home and need to make money, if I live at home and don't need to make money, I probably sell gym memberships in person.
Okay.
I walk the street and I try and get people to come into a commercial gym, right? So I'm learning in person. So I like in person, high volume, high rejection sales. Or go and sell fucking the paintball things, those guys. They're
No, I don't know that.
Server, you know what I mean? Or they're fucking, like something that's very high touch point, very high interaction, right? And that's difficult and that has a process. Like companies that can teach you a very dedicated process. Like Fitness First will teach you a very, very specific process that works. So you can't complain about it not working because it definitely works. Because there's 700 clubs, and that's how they do sales, right? So it's like it works, right? Virgin has a good sales process. I know that because they have so many fucking members. Like the proof is in the pudding. So something like that is really good. I definitely don't want to do anything that is not high volume.
Okay.
I want to be as packed as humanly possible, being able to talk to as many people as I possibly can at all times, because you will shortcut everything with volume. If you're doing inbound book calls, like we were just talking about this before, if you speak to 4 people a day inbound over the course of a year, you speak to 1,000 people, right? If you do outbound or something high touch, you speak to 15 people a day, you do 4,000 over the year. So you will outshine that person 4 to 1. So like the level of good that you'll be at the end of that year will be 4 times as much as that person who's doing fucking inbound.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, just a little background, I have been in sales for 2 years, but I have been a mediocre sales rep for 2 years. So a little bit under 1 mil in cash collected in the info products. And I have seen that there is a lot of uncertainty in the info product space. So taking into consideration like having a good career path, do you think, for example, insurance is much safer or for example, tech sales is
Listen, like Steph Curry will always put the ball in the hoop, right?
Yeah.
So the key is like there is no such thing like as uncertainty or any of that if you're fucking very good at what you do, right?
Yeah,
So
makes sense.
it's a symptom of, and and then, but it doesn't mean that you can't be successful, because if you have a look at like volatility is far more obvious in low volume environments, right? Like if you get 10 calls per week, and 1 week you close at 40 and 1 week you close at 10, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not that huge. It's a monster of a difference, but it's like 3 people. It's like 3 people. Like, fuck, you throw a rock hard enough, you hit 3 people. So it's just not a lot of people. But if you speak to 1,000 people, 10 and 40% that's a lot of people. So statistically, it's significant. 10 and 40%. Like, I speak to business owners all the time and go, oh man, fucking last month my closers closed at 50%. This month they're at 20. They got mindset issues. It's like, dude, but you had 50 calls. It's like you're talking about they have a good day and you're back to normal. Like, what are we discussing here? This is retarded. It's like you have to look at the math, and like percentages only matter with volume. Percentages are irrelevant in small doses. And so, like, you have to have a look at like what you want to do. And I think like there's the art of making sales, and there's the art of being like gifted on the phone. I think a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to be better on the phones, but they're not good at anything else. Whereas if you're good at everything else, which is just much easier to be better at, you wouldn't need to be as gifted on the phones. Like, the reason why I became like known for being good at sales, like, it wasn't because like I had sold full time for 8 years, right? Before I did any high ticket stuff. And so I had all of the skill sets of referrals, follow-up, outbound, like chasing people, and like CRM hunting, because I was paying for my own leads, right? Because I was the business owner. And so I was doing all of that. And then when I transitioned into being a sales rep, I just kept doing all of that. And so I outperformed everybody 25-1 because they were just not doing anything. And then I'd been a sales rep for a long time, so I had a bit more skill. And then when I got sales training, it all kind of fell together because I had that backlog of experience where I could then go, oh, I've experienced that 2,000 times, and I can see if I made that tweak, it would do this. And I go, well, that makes sense. And then I could make small tweaks that had huge outputs. But because I had a backlog of tons and tons of conversations, like tens of thousands of conversations, right? Now you're like 14 years old, right? So you haven't had the time to have them. So like that's a different story again. But I would say put yourself in an environment where you can like learn the skill sets of being a good rep, and don't worry about sales training too much.
Okay.
Worry about like how, like, go in there and like figure out how to make sales, because you can be terrible at sales and make a ton. The way that I sell dialer is fucking disgraceful. There is not an ounce of anything salesy in the slightest. It's just present and chase. That's it. Anyone could do it. They just don't chase as hard as me. That's the difference. Like, I just relentlessly chase people because it's a B2B sale. There's nothing I can do to like make them buy on the day, right? So I have a 2-call process. I have to do a proposal, but there's multiple stakeholders in every single one. And so if I'm what am I going to do? Fucking crunch them because they have to talk to their tech team to make sure that like some of the fucking integration environments are going to make sense. Like, it's stupid. So it's just me relentlessly chasing people. And I like that. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. I like doing that, and I like hopping on my phone and fucking like that. And like, that's a dopamine hit for me. Right? Okay. Sending fucking Cardone his own follow-up procedure. Being like, does this really work? Question mark.
Yeah, thank you very much.
But it's fun. It's fucking chasing. It's hunting. Hunting people. I like hunting. Cool. All right, next question.
Hi, Matt. I was just wondering, going back to William's question, then I'll ask mine. So when do you actually burn the lead? If someone says they're not interested, when do you kind of hang the gloves up with the lead?
Well, they're not interested, but they don't want to do it.
Or if they just say they're not interested and then they're like, oh, I'm just about to duck into a meeting, or and do you still follow up, or?
I mean, if they don't want to do it, I don't like. What do we
Yeah.
do? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Nah, man, I'm not interested. All right, dude. Fuck. Like, I mean, I guess you could try and turn that around, but I guess it would depend on the situation that you're in.
Yeah.
If I'm fucking desperate for leads, fuck it. Or if I want to learn the skill set, fuck it. You know what I mean? But like, if someone's like, "Oh, I do not want your product or service," like, all right, you don't even want the deal. You know, like it's not personal. Nothing to be offended by. It's like, oh man, it's not for me. Thanks so much. All right, cool, dude. Let me know if you change your mind. Happy to help. You know, like not interested is a very specific, like, you know, it's not an objection. You know, it's like, you know, it's like I have to check out. Show her to fuck off. It's like, yeah, she wants it though. You know what I mean? Like, probably not. I guess. You know, maybe you should just let her be. It just feels like, you know, we're just trying a bit too hard. It's not because they have a bad mindset. It's because like they just don't want it.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, I don't. Yeah, maybe other people think differently. It just seems like a. But like, if you're getting that a lot, like if like for example, if you're outbounding leads, right, and you're getting that a lot, then you'd be. Are you in Henderson?
Yeah. So the logo.
Was that H? Fuck.
Yeah.
I think I'll be in your office next week.
Yeah, nice.
So yeah, so like if you're getting that a lot, then you've got to go, ooh, why am I getting that a lot? And that's different. And that's more like, is my opener causing the issue? So you've got to see if it's like, is this a me thing that's causing it? Like, am I outbounding people and they're going, oh, dude, I'm just busy, mate. I'm not really interested right now. Like leave me alone. I would say that's a you thing.
Yeah.
Right.
But if it's happening like 1 out of every 10 pickups, or 2 out of like, it's just more than they don't want it.
Yeah, I mean, 1 out of 10 is, you know, is still high when you consider the fact that they're like opting in for something.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So again, I would have a look at the ratios of other people. If it's team wide, I would say, yeah, it's just normal, and then you just factor that in. But if you're, you know, track it and go, okay, cool, and then see if it's like, man, like, is there a common thread between the people that say that and don't? And am I causing this in some way? Or is there some commonality that I can find that would allow me to make an adjustment? You know? Because it's very rare that I get, like, I mean, I can count on fucking one hand the times that people have said on an outbound, I'm not interested. Like, it's not common, you know? So I would look at that. All right?
Okay. Cool. Thanks. And also with as far as like inbound leads come, and then right now I'm like booking the appointments. How deep do you get into the problem, the situation? Do you even go over consequence when booking an appointment, or?
No, I mean,
no, not at all.
That's a business decision at the end of the day, so I can't tell you what to do. You know, like I wouldn't do that because I like Gianni and they pay me money and I don't want to fuck with that, right? You know what I mean? So, but what I would say is that you don't want to do the job of the salesperson because you will fuck it up, because like there's like it's minimum effective dose. Like, I mean, I have a look on Dialer and I see people doing 45-minute set calls, and it's like, how is it longer than 7 minutes?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You know, like what are we discussing? You know, so it's like, find a problem. Hey, I think our problem matches. I think our solutions match your problem. If you want, I can book you in with a call. You can speak to the team and they can see if we can help you out. Would that work? Perfect. When are you free? Boom, done. Like, it's 5 to 7 minutes. If you're going that deep, you're just gonna either like cause a no-show. The sales rep has to double back, which is annoying. So it looks like you don't have congruence in communication inside your team, which makes you look like less professional. You get people like desperately wanting to solve the problem now. So like when they get off the phone, they get targeted with the competitor's ad and they buy immediately. You know, like you're doing the job of the competitor for you because you're driving. Make sense?
Yeah. Do you get much into the desired outcome and this? Not at all.
Really basic overview. Because
just a basic overview. Okay.
Because like, what are we doing? You know?
Yep.
Like, if the salesperson is going to go through that and they're going to need to do that to tie down the urgency so they can actually get the investment, you guys is fucking expensive, like 40 G's or something. You know what I mean? So like, you know, they're going to need to go through that on a call.
Yeah. Okay.
Make sense?
Thanks, Matt. Yeah.
All right. Next one is Nelson. I'm going in order that the hands are raised.
Hey, Matt. Nice to meet you.
Hey,
So
Matt,
I run a mortgage brokerage, and there's no actual like transaction that
what's
happens.
the
like,
launch brokerage?
a mortgage brokerage,
Oh, mortgage. Sorry, I think you said launch. Okay, mortgage brokerage. Yep.
and yeah, there's no like actual close, like where the transaction happens. So like a lot of leads, they're like super keen, they agree to proceed like on the call because the pain's so high, but then they ghost after that. So have you had like worked with any like similar situations like this, or any like suggestions?
Yeah.
Maybe-
So we always put in a close.
like an authority to proceed.
It's exactly what we do.
Yeah.
And make it a big deal. And then people pussy out because they get people telling them no, and they think that that's a bad thing. It's like those people were never going to do it anyway, bro. So you do a definitive, hey, this is the documentation that we use, which is a confirmation that you are proceeding with this process. It doesn't mean that you'll be approved, right? You know what I mean? But you're confirming that we're proceeding and that you're going to go through and complete the documentation required. And then that way, because you need something to give you a concern, or charge them $50.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
You have to create a friction point and then not be a pussy and like allow the friction point to be friction filled. Whereas what happens is people put it in and they start getting people like going, like giving them concerns, which is the point, right? No, instead of getting yeses and then ghosting, you know? And then you have to figure out how to get them to not say no, right? But now you actually have the opportunity to problem solve it. Whereas you can't problem solve a process where there is no sale. You go, so you want to do it? Yes. Hey guys, I got a fucking 93% close rate. I'm a fucking savage. And then like 2% of people end up settling. You know, so you've got to make the friction point and be diligent with it, then problem solve off it, making sure that friction point stays a friction point.
Yeah, like we've done like an authority to proceed like before, which it does like help sort of get like push them along, but then still like some just ghost still because there's no like
but
unless
I will guarantee. I mean, obviously some people are going to ghost, but I guarantee you, if you listen to the wording, people minimize it. You maximize it. This is a confirmation that you are proceeding with the process and will give us the appropriate docs so that we can so that we can fucking refinance your mortgage. How do you want to proceed?
Yep.
But they're gonna go like, oh, it's a documentation that allows us to compile the documents for you, and you know, it just means that like we're able to represent you, and it's like yada yada yada, and they just act like pussies about it because they don't want to hear no's because like their fucking self-worth is tied to some idiot they don't know's like fucking whether they say yes to a product that they don't even own. You know, so it's like just like you have to then force the invitation, or just go, hey, in order to move forward, we have a $47 charge.
Yeah, cool.
You
Thanks
know,
for that.
like that's the only way to do it. Otherwise, like you just end up in this nebulous zone of like nobody ever like. Dude, I work with a really big mortgage brokerage right now. I fucking tripled them. Right? They're doing. They went from like 20 to 60 settlements a month. Right? And like I've had this argument many times.
Yeah. Was there like one big thing that sort of helped them scale?
I mean, I made them way better at sales. That helped. I redid their whole sales process and we redid all their marketing. So,
Yeah. Who was that?
what was that?
Who was that? Like the
I don't know. Don't know the name. You gotta go on Facebook and have a look at the ads account. I know exactly what you're doing, motherfucker. I have a rev share. I have a rev share. You think I'm letting you fucking take my ads? Right? You give me a rev share, I'll do it for you too. All right. All right. GT10 was that? I'm serious though. Do it that way. It'll work.
Yeah,
GT.
thanks for that.
GT10.
Yeah, hey Matt. How's
Is there a
it going?
non-GT10 that you can get? Can you get like an RS10? Right?
Yeah, it's pronounced as ton, so but it's all good. You can call me GT. So so I am the sales lead, for porn addiction recovery coaching program. Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Good
so
thing-
huh?
It's a good thing Mahir is here.
Yeah, I'll message you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think what was most
How
challenging
do
thing.
you advertise?
Huh?
How do you advertise?
Oh yeah, so we have podcasts, YouTube, lots of content, lots of organic content, right?
You can't say porn, can you?
We can say porn. We
Okay.
do say porn. Yeah. So
I thought it censored, the ads got censored automatically.
yeah, some of them they're still, the marketing team is still fixing that, honestly. So
on.
yeah. But anyway, I think my question on the sales team side, while the marketing is still fixing the targeting, we do have a lot of unqualified leads, right? In terms of financial qualification.
How much is it?
Is on the lower end is 4,500 for 3 months, 75 for 12, and then we have like another program that is like with one-on-one with with the founder, with the owner. That's 9,500 and 25K.
What an interesting sales conversation that must be.
25K to stop jerking it, guys.
Yeah, we do have that offer. So we do.
No
Yeah,
way.
so
That's why.
I think our highest is like
Jerking your gherkin.
our
Hit up
highest that we've
GT10.
actually closed is 40K. So for the
God,
year.
that's not a fucking problem.
Oh, holy mackerel.
Yeah.
Your life must be in ruins if you're willing to spend 40K for that.
Yeah.
Like, for real though, like that must be a
Yeah.
real.
No. Yeah. It
No,
is.
it's a very big problem.
It is a
very,
serious
very
problem.
silent
It is a
problem.
serious problem. Because some people, they get into like other stuff, right? Like fucking with people that they're not really naturally interested in. So anyway, we have a very unique offer because of how unique it is and niche it is, and there's a lot of shame involved in the conversation. And because of that, a lot of our leads are more like very avoidant, emotionally avoidant. They don't want to talk about it, and they ghost a lot. So a lot of our more qualified leads, we can get them out. We have a challenge of like getting them on. I think the only one that we're testing right now is personalized Zoom video, just to talk to them. And we're also having like very inefficiency in terms of filtering out, in terms of organization of leads. Right now we have three closers, one sell by chat setter and one outbound setter.
Yeah, I mean, like you're gonna have to be creative with how you approach things. Like what I would do and try if I was in charge of revenue there would be very different. Like it would depend. Like I would send like the videos the first 2 seconds would be a porno, right? Like you wouldn't see anything, but it would be that. Like that's what I would do, and it would be edited in to be like, if this is what got your attention, then you have to come to the call, right? So like, like, oh yeah, are you coming? Like that kind of thing. Like, but I would do that very intentionally to show that the only way to interrupt their pattern is through porn, and that's part of the fucking problem. And you've got to like de-shame it a lot, and you've got to be like, dude, we know, we don't give a fuck. The whole point is to show up like we don't care. You know what I mean? Like if you're not showing up because you're so fucking ashamed, and then because you're ashamed, what are you gonna do? Go and fucking hate jerk? Like this is ridiculous. Like you've got to find a way to cut through to people. I've done like programs for alcoholics before. You know what I mean? And it's a very similar thing. They don't want to talk about it, but you've got to like call it out very, very clearly. Like, did you not come because you're drinking? Are you drunk right now? Right? Like what's happening here? Because like shame is the second most powerful emotion behind love. Yeah. Right? It's the most driving force. Love and shame are the two highest driving forces that people can have. And so, but like shame is not something you want to use as a motivator to buy because it will instantly cause regret. You
Yep.
know, but it is something that you can use in order to cause people to act in the short term. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but also calling it out for what it is. So like you're going to have to do lots of, I think, sort of quite verbose problem solving with like outside of the box kind of thinking, and then be willing to test it and have the mechanisms in place to do that, because there is a way to solve it. It's just like, you're gonna have to try things. I don't think sending personalized LinkedIn videos will do anything. I think it will have zero effect, as it always does, right?
A lot of them, they're not open. If they open, then it's good. A couple of them, but we don't have enough data to even support that. So
yeah, I think, yeah, mate, go on to fucking Cameo and get a porn star to do the video. That's not a joke. I'd 100% try that.
okay.
Get fucking Riley Reid to do your show up sequence.
That's sauce.
Right? Because like you're leaning into the problem to find the solution. Right? It's like, hey, come to the bar for a drink. This is where the intervention's happening.
Okay. So when you say the 2 seconds thing, right? Where will you put that? Is it in a show up sequence, essentially?
Yeah, like I would have a show sequence with Cameo, and I would get porn stars to do it. Yeah, like I would for sure do that, because like you're showing that this is so important to you. This is the only way we can communicate to get you to do something.
Okay, it makes
Why
sense.
do this. Right? That's what I would try shit like that.
Okay. We didn't try an actual porn star. We did try like someone, a woman, lady.
Now I would do like a well-known porn star.
Got it. Okay.
Like
okay.
instantly recognizable porn star.
With the starting clip of Pornhub. Boom.
Yeah,
Like
that
as
would-
the
actually,
as a
that
pattern interrupt.
would be a massive pattern interrupt. That would.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking of ways to try and like, if the people are addicted to that, then you can use that addiction as ways to get their attention, and then show that we had to use their addiction to get their attention. That's why they need the thing. So you can layer in lots of meaning behind it, and then it actually makes sense. It's not just you fucking, being a dirt.
That makes sense.
That's what comes up in my head. And then the conversations themselves, I think, would be quite interesting, because like you've really got to establish the enormous impact it's having on day-to-day life.
Yeah.
And like money, time, energy, effort, all that kind of stuff. I think that you would probably be able to see it. But I think like doing a screen share, looking at people's fucking, like, show me your browser history, motherfucker. Like, let's do this. I think that would be a really effective tool. Again, use shame and be like, all right, you want to fucking change this? You want to make a change? Sweet. All right, dude. Like, let's take your life back. And then it's like, you have to make them buy now. You have to. You have to absolutely smash decimate. There is no follow-up.
So pretty much just like one
Never let a drug addict.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Let me just go think this over. Right? Addiction is addiction. Like they are chemically wired to keep doing it. And you have to have there has to be you can't go in and think about it. It's not an option. And you shouldn't allow it for their sake. You should be like, man, I'm really sorry, but we don't allow that. The reason being is because it is antithetical to everything that we are as a business, is to allow you to continue the behavior. And if you go away and think about it, you're just going to think about all the reasons why you're justified in doing what you're currently doing, because that's what you've been doing and what you're going to continue to do. So we are here to be your inflection point. You either decide or you don't. I don't judge you either way. But when you go to bed tonight, you're either moving towards or away. You got to choose. Red pill, blue pill. Because it's the only way you're going to sell them. And it's true. They got to do it. They got to figure it out.
Yeah.
Sometimes you touch the iron to know it's hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And what are the good standards in terms of like for outbound setters in terms of dialing per day?
It's just it's impossible to say. I would just use hours.
What's a good
Hourly.
talk time for them, or what do you mean by hours?
And it's impossible to say because there's too many variables involved. And
Mm.
like you're looking at KPIs that can be tricked. Talk
Mm.
time, I just send blank voicemails and play Xbox.
Mm.
Right.
So when you say hours,
Time,
what do you mean by hours?
like you know the shorthand on the clock, how many of those tick by, right? Where they're actually working.
Hmm.
Right? That's the key, right? In Dialer, they get tracked,
Mhm.
right? So like we have a log of everything they've done for the day, and it's like they have to log in. There are their activities tracked, and so you can see how many hours a day they work.
Okay.
So
just,
like setters work for 2 hours, like it's not super productive, especially if they're getting paid a base and they're expected to be working 8. I have a theory that most setters have 2 to 3 jobs.
Mhm. Well, my setter, it's she's getting paid hourly, so
Yeah, but
so
how do
she-
you track her hours? Stuff reporting.
we track our hours like with a screen share, like those.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So like I know she's working, but I just want to make
She's
her
working.
like share.
99% of businesses don't have that.
Oh, okay. I
A
see.
really good one is Time Camp.
Time camp.
Dude, 4 hours talk time. You can't use talk time. Again, I can fake it.
Yeah, yeah. We just provide Alaware for her, to call. So,
Is she okay?
huh?
Is she okay?
Yeah, I mean, when she's performing, her mind is good, But right now, she's unfortunately going through some personal stuff. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
see if I can get her back.
If I was in Delaware, I'd be going through personal stuff as well. That's a dog shit of a software.
Yeah.
It really is though. That's the worst one.
Yeah. Well, no, she lost her mom recently, so
That's
Yeah.
unfortunate. But again,
it is unfortunate. Yeah.
why are you rubbing her nose in it by making her use that piece of shit? If I was on a call with my team, I would have said something much worse. But all right. Next one, Said.
Yes, I actually usually go by Seth in English, so you nailed it. But yeah, it's actually pronounced Said. So, but yeah, I usually go by Seth. So I am a setter. You were shitting on setters over there, so I think
Yeah. Do that because you
Yeah.
deserve.
yeah, but I have a 50% show rate right now as a setter. What do you think it's a good show rate? And then what would you recommend to actually get it higher?
Like again, it depends.
Yeah.
But like in the 60s, I think is the sort of 65 is like the minimum I would say for like scale.
Okay.
I would have a look, and I would have a look at the easy ways to bring it up. Like if you have a look at your show rate per day per hour, and then just find the common thread between like certain days and certain hours that are just not worth setting people, and then you just block them off.
Okay.
And then you probably
Are
see
there any that you've noticed?
Well, again, it's like am I talking your time zone or their time zone? Right. So you have to use your time zone because that's the common thread. Right. You know what I mean? That's the thing that you
True.
can measure off. And then it's going to be offer dependent. If I'm selling women into fitness and I'm selling mums and I book them in at 3 p.m., what's the chances of them picking up the goddamn phone? It's school pickup time. Right. So now they will have every intention of showing up and they will go, oh yeah, that's school pickup time, but I'll get mom to cover. Then they forget. And then they no show and you call them a bitch. Right. When in reality, you just never should have, you just never should have done that. Right. And so it's like look for patterns and reasons of why you would not make a change. Right. And then try and weasel through because like a lot of the times, like it's just like people are booking people in at like ridiculous times,
Okay.
like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you're dealing with, or like, you're dealing with teachers and you're booking them in at 2. It's like,
Right. Yeah.
how are they going to come? People don't think about it though, because they're idiots.
But besides that, though, I guess in the process, that's helpful. And I should look into that because I never even thought about it.
To like tangibly analyze and make one specific decision. Like, don't do what you're about to do.
Okay.
You're looking for skill ways to increase something that you might be able to do with process. So
Okay.
why would you make a skill change if it's not required? What if you have a 75% show rate with the exact way that you're doing it, but you're just good at booking people in at retard times? What if? And then you go and make a change based off, but Matt said, right?
Yeah.
And I told you to do something stupid. 50-50. Right? So now you never know what happened.
Okay.
Or let's say that I tell you to do a rockstar change, right? And you make a change to the booking, but you made the wrong one. And now you stay exactly where you are. What Matt said didn't work, and changing that didn't work. So I'll never do them again. But in reality, my change was awesome and your change sucked. Right? How do you know?
Yeah.
Right? One thing. You now
Okay.
have one thing you can look at and change and see if that makes a tangible outcome. And if you're asking me to give you two things, I answer no.
Okay. It's good. Now, if I could ask then a follow-up question, not regarding the shows,
Okay.
is what if I get shows? Because last month I got, for example, 45 shows, and I got 5 of them that actually closed. Like, as a setter, what would you say? Like, what's something that I could change, or like, if there is, or like, what would you actually say there I could change?
Well,
as-
let's keep the variables the same and just try and get more of them to show,
Okay.
because that's more sales straight away,
Yeah.
right? Once you've figured out more shows, then you can figure out better shows. Now, if the
Okay.
sales guys you're sending them to are dog shit, is what it is, bro.
Okay.
Right. So more is better. First, you got to do more first, because the way to, you can't control that people close. You can only send people who are more likely to close.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? That means higher levels of filtering, which means less people.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are ramifications to all of your decisions. So if you figure out how to do more, then you can figure out how to filter, and you can go back, you can go to 65, then go back to 45, right? But 45 better ones. I mean, and now more of them are showing up because of the better show rate, and more of them are closing. Then you figure out how to keep that quality and increase the volume. If you try and do everything at once, you will achieve absolutely nothing. This is why people do not get better. They refuse to do it one at a time. You know? Like,
Okay.
if you try and do everything at once, mate, you'll never learn a thing.
All right. Thanks for that. I'll apply that.
So with that in mind, just to piggyback off of that, when it comes to the qualifications and how much do you filtering, is there like a sweet spot that you've seen when it comes to like a lower ticket type of like $1,000, $1,500 offer? If the setter should be qualifying based on their, is it just like revenues and all the qualifying things, or is it actually getting problems and going a little bit deeper for the closer? Like, should they damn near be almost getting the prospect maybe ready to potentially buy, or is it like, just, hey, here are the qualifications and move them over here? Like, where is that middle ground sweet spot? And if it is there a sweet spot, or is it just per kind of industry, per type of offer that you have?
Depends. Depends is the answer. It's an opportunity to quality and quantity.
Just keep testing until you find that like good little sweet spot.
But at all times. Sometimes they're full of shit. Sometimes they're full of gold. But they should be full. I'd rather have a 1% chance of closing somebody than a 100% chance of closing nobody.
True.
So the answer is that's a variable figure that changes day to day, week to week, month to month based on the opportunities available. If you have high lead flow and if you have 5 reps and an insane lead flow, they're going to be layouts because you filter everybody out because of time. Your restriction is time. You only have a certain amount of time on a diary. You can't make more of that unless you get more people, right? But let's just say the people are fixed. You have 100 sales slots a week, right? If you have 10,000 people trying to get the 100, you filter them out to 100 laydowns. Does that make sense? Does that make the sales team good? No, it doesn't. It makes them rich. It doesn't make them good. If you have 100 slots available and 100 people trying to get those slots, you are booking 100% of all available leads in. Your close rate will be dog shit, but you have opportunity. So there is no sweet spot.
That answers my question perfectly. That gives me good.
Yeah, your lead flow will move and shift, but also your sales team will move and shift based on availability, based on people, based off new people, based off people leaving. You know what I mean? So there's a constant and never finishing, like your application form is never done, because the question should change based off how many people you want to flow through. Your setters should let a certain amount of people through, but like if you have a rule of like you let 50% of people through no matter what, but you have 10,000 people vying for 100 spots, that doesn't make any sense. And then but if you have 100 people for 100 spots you let half through, you're fucking yourself as well. So like that's where sales management is like, well, like where are we at? Are we full or are we not? And like what are the levers that we pull and change in order to maximize availability and opportunity while still maximizing quality? That doesn't mean your quality is always good, but it means you're maximizing it. And your sales team should understand this, and you should be talking to them about it, because like if you're gonna flood them with shit, you should tell them, because then they won't pretend like they're in a mindset fucking, oh, I'm sad, that's why I'm not closing. Right? Or I can be hungover and fucking like my fucking best friend just died. I'll still close the deal just fine. Like it's ridiculous. It's just a fucking job, right? You know, and so like it is what it is. But people get into slumps, right? Because they're looking at things on very short time horizons and not understanding environmental factors. Okay, if your no-show is 80% on the fucking on the 1st to the 8th of July in the US and you make a change, you're a retard. Because it's July 4th, you idiot. Everyone's on vacation. What are you doing? Who cares? Like, just take the week off, right? If it's coming up to a presidential election and your ad cost skyrockets and you shoot new creative to fix it, you're an idiot. Kamala Harris just spent $100 billion on ads. You think you can compete? Like, you know, like it's an environmental like inevitability, and that outcome is so obvious. So it's like making changes to fix that is ridiculous, you know, because it's going to normalize.
Thank you so much for that. That actually helps like a lot. More process oriented than kind of like thinking internally.
Yeah, I got 4 minutes. Mahir.
If you're selling cyber, right, and if the problem you get is just monotonous, repetitive, would you funnel that into money? Because it's very easy to build a gap with
Cyber
money.
is just a word. What do you mean? If you're
Like if you're selling people like career changers, like into that, and if the problem you get is just, you know, monotonous, it's repetitive, would you take that, or would you use two truths and try and get them into money?
Oh, okay. I see what you're asking.
Yeah. Because like with that, if I don't do that, it's even the ideal gap questions, it's very hard to put something tangible in place because there's no numbers attached to it.
Yeah, I suppose, unless they're gonna fucking kill themselves because of it, right? So I guess I would just probably extrapolate on what does that mean, and like, you know, like, okay, well, yeah, I guess two truths is probably the best way to handle that. But it sounds like that's like annoying, but is that really enough to sort of change? Like, what would you change besides the fact that it's monotonous? Because every job becomes that, right? Even if you're, you know, fucking supermodels, like at some stage it becomes monotonous, right? Like that many times. And so like that's an inevitability. So what would you change about that, about your job if you could besides that? And I think that then you don't have to funnel into money though. I think funnel into money is like, that's a bit of a trap, because then they might not be focused on that. So let them tell you what they're focused on. Don't go like, okay, what about the money though? You know what I mean? If you're getting nothing out of them, then you can funnel them into that to try and shortcut the process. But you're better off allowing them to tell you their true problems than extrapolating off that instead of funneling them into the problem that you want them to have.
Yeah. Because then I'm assuming everyone has a money issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just because you're Indian, you know. Me and Mahir go way back, guys. It's okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna disappoint you next week.
You do every week, man. That's okay. Disappointment from the moment I met you. All right. Last one is BJ because I gotta go. I went 15 minutes over, just so you know.
Yeah, thanks for that, Matt. Good to see you keeping the stereotypes. So basically, what are your thoughts on AI call dialer people? Like, have you heard of Assistable, or are you familiar with Call Affluent?
I mean, I haven't heard of those ones in particular, but like my thoughts are, you know, those sort of be fairly heavily regulated, you know.
So you would never consider bringing them into dialer, like even if you had like a bunch of people training them up and doing prompt engineering and making agentic processes?
I mean, you're like the compliance. It's not that I wouldn't. Our system in particular is very, very compliant driven, and it's also got hardware checks, like which is the thing, and like spoofing hardware is very difficult, right? So it wouldn't work. We have the ability to create them internally, but bringing external ones in, they'd have to have access to too much of the architecture, so it wouldn't make any sense. But they're also not hard to build. I could build one in a week. Like they're very simple. Like they're just an LLM that's fucking answering questions. You know what I mean? Some of them are really good. It doesn't mean they're not good, but from a compliance and regulatory standpoint, they will not last long. And I think it will not replace sales. It will replace CS. It will replace so inbound IVR and CS will be like very, very effective, I think, for that, because AI has been doing CS for a while now. But in terms of like sales, like grandma gets scammed, it gets banned. Right. So, and it's already like it's considered a robo-dial. So no one that I've seen has the ability to effectively call. And also like you can't, like power dialing and auto dialing is very tricky. And especially multi-line dialing. Like you look at what happened to Air AI. I mean, fuck me, mate. Like they are gonna get slapped so hard.
How many lawsuits do you think Air AI? Because like I know about them and
it's crazy.
Mastermind. They're
Like,
under
they
the water.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they're in hot water at the moment. Air AI, FTC is cracking down. So you don't think like they'll pass like TCPA or GDPR, whatever,
No.
the regulatory issues and things like that?
It has to be a human-initiated dial. The moment the human is not initiating the dial, it's automatically in a level of legislation where it's very difficult to pull off. All right, I gotta go there, guys. Peace.
All right, man.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much. Yeah, do you guys know if he has a chat or anything? Do you guys have any chat for the program or anything, or is it literally just calls?
Chat, like a chat feature.
Like there's like a group thing where there's like other people.
I mean, we
or something.
need it. This would be a sick community, man.
That's what I'm saying. I've been in this for like over now a month. I just bought it just to see the course, and I didn't even realize it was these calls. I just randomly like, what the fuck is this? Came on. I'm like, oh, that's cool.
That's a good idea, Pablo. Pablo, we'll create a group chat, and then we won't invite Matt, and we'll make him so jealous.
Can someone answer
There
a quick
should-
question?
What's good, Dan?
How did you get notification of this event? Because I literally
Email.
accidentally stumbled on it. I know, but I got an email like as it was starting. I didn't get any sort of advance notice and just happened to catch it.
You got to kind of go through the YouTube. I'm through like when you go to the Notion and you go to that type of stuff,
Yep.
he puts like membership posts out on the YouTube. If you go to the subscription you have,
Yeah, I
you'll
didn't
be
see
able
a single
to
post
see all
this
that
month.
stuff.
Okay, I'll look again. I did not.
It's
see it.
really
I've been
different.
looking for it.
It's honestly really shitty. There's not even a word for that. It's just ran pretty shit.
Okay.
But there's a lot of value in here. It's just run
Yeah.
really bad. I think the way that it was done and whatever is just like whatever. But
Yeah.
it's great value. It's fucking amazing value for the price. It's like I've gone through so much consulting and paid so much fucking money, and just the level of like information that you can get here is just incredible. So I
I'm
was wondering
sold
if
on the
there's anything
value.
else.
Yeah,
Well, I gotta
no,
say, ladies and gentlemen, I've known Matt since 2020. I was one of the very first sales sniper people, and I've seen pretty much him combine with Jeremy and take a 6-figure business into multiple 8 figures. And what you're getting here right now for the price is It's fucking ridiculous.
It's I don't even know how it's possible. I FaceTime my partner while I was on this call. I'm like, look, I showed him the video. He's like, dude, this is ridiculous. I didn't even know we were paying for
honestly,
this.
I know Matt, and Matt's doing this because he's bored. Like he's genuinely
I
just
can see
bored.
it. I can see it.
He's
I
got
can
a
see
wife. He's got the white picket fence with the hot wife and making all these millions of money. And now he's just like, what the fuck do I do with my time now? And he's like, oh, why don't we just like see if I can add some value to the marketplace and then beat everyone else who's charging more money than him. Like he gets kind of a pleasure out of like undercutting people. That's just who he
What's
is.
nice because also the level of people that are following him are also like almost very qualified. So the level of people that you'll get here is a lot better than other places that you'll get, which is nice.
Yeah,
as well
and
too.
obviously you're learning from literally a guy who would charge $5,000 an hour to consult with him. Like, not even a joke. Like, you literally have access to a guy who made $100,000 in sales commissions and built a multiple millions a month sales consulting agency from nothing. So,
Yeah, I know.
I'm
It's
still-
crazy. When I first
I don't
started,
think people
I was
really understand the gravity of Matt Ryder. I really
Yeah.
don't.
I'm
They don't.
sold on him. I'm sold on the value. It just doesn't do me any good if I can't find these things until 15 minutes before they close. But I'm sold on the value. You're absolutely right. It's a steal. And
Just go through the Notion, go through the web, the YouTube updates that he does. Like that's how I found this. I kind of just like would casually go through it sometimes because I was waiting for something. Like there was a couple of them that he did beforehand that I think I missed. But
everyone dropped their number in the chat. I'll create a group chat. And I'll
that'd be
invite
dope.
everyone.
Yeah, please. So that's my +1 up there, the 9491. Anybody in California, feel free to reach out.
Don't jump off just yet if you want to be a part of this group.
Add me first. I got reservations to make. I gotta go.
Yeah. Well, hang on. Let me just copy paste it, and then that way everyone can jump off.
Likewise, but if anybody is also in the lead generation Facebook ad agency type space, we are doing over around $100,000 a month. Looking to potentially, run some ideas between people and processes. We just spent a shit ton on back-end consultancy to potentially sell the business soon. So same ones Joel Kaplan and all those other people use. So, but anyways, if anybody's in that niche or in that general field, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to go through and see what we can come up with together. It's the whole point of this. So
I've got Pablo's number, Nelson's, William J, Chris Westcott's, Rachel, Dan, and that's it. Anyone else, feel free to drop your number. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
These calls are once a week or once a month.
Yeah, you
Once
just
a month,
book in.
right?
You book in through his Calendly, and then it's just first come, first serve.
Interesting.
And
Oh,
then
it
I
is
think
first
he
come,
has-
first serve. There's not there's a cap on people to join this, or
I don't think there's a cap. But I'm pretty sure he has one in like Australian time zone.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
European.
it's just like he sends it out, and if you come up, you come. If you don't, like, it's not like there's one for each. Like, it's not accommodating in a sense. But anyways, okay, you got mine one, the 949 for William J.
Yeah, I just print screened it, and I'll start
Very
adding
good.
everyone
Cool.
now. When everyone
Pleasure
jumps
to
off.
meet everybody. I'm excited to talk to you.
Pleasure to meet you guys.
Dope. So
Yeah,
cool.
we
Have a
met.
great
Nice
rest of your day.
meeting
God
you
bless
guys.
all you guys. Take it easy.
Take care.
Absolutely.
Take it easy.
Thanks, guys.
Stay blessed,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Yeah.
God bless.